Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. Hopefully everybody had a good lunch. We are here for the 1 o'clock session, How to Become One of Them, with Sean Jones, Senior Information Security Professional with 20 plus years in IT and cybersecurity, experienced intelligence analyst known for developing innovative tools and scripts to streamline processes, proven track record in identifying and mitigating threats, strengthening organizational defenses, as well as joining him, Kaloyan Ivanov, Threat Intelligence Manager at GroupSense, with nearly 5 years of experience in cybersecurity research and analysis. He leads the Threat Intelligence Research Team, focusing on detection, mitigation strategies, and intelligence-led defense. He holds master's degrees in national security and defense, and in multilateral diplomacy and international organizations. He brings global perspective through studies in international relations and China studies, with expertise in fraud investigations and cyber threat intelligence.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Nice to see you. I hope you had a nice lunch. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Kaloyan, this is Sean, and we are going to talk today about human intelligence and its part in the cyber threat intelligence. And specifically, we're going to talk about how this is important part of the threat intelligence, as much as it's scraping and using alerts and AI. We are going to look also at how to earn trust in closed communities and how extracting intelligence from there is important.
This is the trade craft behind the reports. It's the ghost work, and this is the kind of intel that automation cannot reach. So let's dive in. I want to walk you through what we're going to be covering today and what you can expect from this session. First, we're going to talk about why HUMIT still matters in cyber intelligence, especially in the area of AI, automation, and massive OSINT tooling. The short answer is these tools do not get you into private groups or earn you trust among hackers and threat actors. Then we'll break down the full cycle of deep cover operations, from choosing the right forums, building your persona, staying operationally secure, and eventually engaging the threat actors directly to extract high-value intelligence. We will show you real-world examples of how threat actors reveal more than they mean to, how we identify victims, vulnerabilities, motivations, and anything else even before it hits public feeds. We'll also address the challenges and risk involved, and wrap up with a conversation about the ethics of this work, because let's be honest, it's definitely a gray area, and it needs structure.
Okay, so when people talk about threat intelligence, usually most of the cases they talk about scraping deep and dark web, some alerting, some AI-driven correlations, and all of that has its value in it. The end goal is to be able to catch the attack before it happens, or before the access is being sold, or before the database got leaked. So all of those automations have their value in it, but we're going to talk about what the system actually means. The things that happen between closed doors, between the negotiations between threat actors, initial access brokers, ransomware groups recruiting, and so we're going to see how the importance is that the information extracted from places that usually are more closed, they are not public. That's more more valuable intelligence at the end of the day, that it can get easily evaluated because of the direct contact with the threat actor itself, and because of the indicators that can be extracted to the communication and negotiation with the different threat actors. That's why we focus on the human part, the human intelligence, because the intelligence is more easily verifiable and also more valuable because it's not public. It's not that everyone can see it yet. It requires to establish some credibility within those groups, and in order to get accepted in there, so they can start trusting you and sharing some information. So we are not collecting IPs from the breaches or some other indicators after the incident happens, but we are trying to prevent those incidents. We are trying to catch the intent of the threat actor when they decide to do the attack. Maybe they are acquiring some tools, or maybe they got some zero-day that they want to exploit. They have not done the attack yet, so that's why we try to catch them, and that's why the human is important. We can see here one real-life example. That's from one of the Deep and Dark Web forums, just a public offer. Everyone that scrapes it has seen it, or those people that don't know the basic dark and deep web forums can see them, but you cannot really identify the victim from that. You see it's an RDP access, local administrator, Windows Server, yes, and who is the target? How is the access acquired? What is the intention of the threat actor? Do they want to do some ransomware maybe? So that's where we engage. We engage with them. We build a report. We build trust in us. We play different roles. Maybe we can play a buyer. Maybe we can play another ransomware group that wants to buy it. And we try to extract as much indicators as possible that they are not visible to the public eye. And we are trying to build intelligence from that, because from that thing, it's news. It's some data. Something happened somewhere, but it's not really actionable. The client cannot act upon that. We engage, start conversation with the seller. Maybe depending on the type of the threat actor, maybe it's within the forum, or we know someone who knows them, so we get introduced. Knowing the threat actor is important in order to build a rapport with them and trust. That's something that we'll talk later more about. But once we engage them, we try to extract different indicators and to get the actual victim, how they got access, what's the vulnerability maybe, or from where was it taken. As you can see, the scrapers can get us so far. The rest is earned. We have to put some work behind it, human hours. And once we get the info, then we can evaluate the threat itself. Is it really a threat to the client or to the victim? Or maybe someone is just joking around and saying, hey, I have this access without even having one.
Now let's go a layer deeper into private territory. Sometimes before anything is posted publicly, we'll get approached with an offer. And I love getting approached with offers. I smile, I grin, I rub my hands. Maybe the actor recognized us from another forum. Maybe we've chatted before in the past. But regardless, we've been able to build up enough reputation to get this pre-market access, and we get a first look, a first offer. It's freaking awesome. This kind of humid, it gives us a preemptive advantage. We're ahead of public alerts. We're ahead of the scrapers. We're ahead of the AI. We're ahead of the public feeds. We can start the threat validation before anything hits the mainstream channels. Another thing that these threat actors do, especially when they want to prove that a finding or a threat is legitimate, they'll show screenshots or provide system, level access, or showing us this access of as proof. So we'll look at this particular screenshot. This was on, what forum was this on? Breach forums, thank you. I forgot. We have internal host names, we have usernames, we have metadata. We're able, sometimes, and I can't see that, but sometimes we're able to actually identify who the victim is quite often. And more than anything, it'll give us the intent, why the actor is doing this, what they're doing it for, what they plan to do next, who they're targeting. And again, this is details that scrapers and these other tools typically don't tell you. Now, the challenges of HUMIT, because let's be honest, it's not easy. First, we need to determine our legal and ethical boundaries. We're operating in undercover. We're operating undercover in criminal forums, and that's murky territory. Every country, and sometimes even every state, they have different laws around this type of activity. Sometimes even just being in these rooms can get you in trouble. Sometimes being in these rooms can have the FBI show up at your house wondering what you're doing in these rooms. I know. That's why it's clear that we set internal policies, we work with legal teams, and we draw hard lines around what's allowed and what's not allowed.
Yeah, another challenge when working with humans, especially with those types of communities, risks of exposure. Because at the end of the day, we are trying to catch those guys, to de-anonymize them, to prevent them selling their access, that they have worked hard for it. Obstruct their operations. So one of the biggest risks is that they're always paranoid that there are researchers among them, accusing each other of, hey, you're a researcher, no, you're a researcher, sometimes jokingly, sometimes seriously. And when I catch that you might be a researcher and they try to dox you to find who you are, I can give you a real story. 2 years ago, I was speaking at B-Sites in Sofia, in Bulgaria, and we were talking exactly about doxing and how it can be done. We were talking about this specific threat actor in full details, almost de-anonymizing the person. And on the next day, I opened one of the biggest dark web forums, and there is a picture of me standing in front of the slideshow, and it turns out this threat actor was in room, actually. So, always having in mind the operational security when you work because of those things. The better you are, the more threat actors you catch, and the more financial harm you make to them. So they'll want to find you.
The third is time. You can't rush this. It can take weeks or months to build a persona that's believable. And trust doesn't come in a day. Sometimes forums go dark. They may change platforms. They may tighten security. And you may have to start from zero again, because I've been through this hundreds of times.
Another thing that it's less talked about is the mental toll that it takes on you. Because you play those roles, sometimes you maintain several personas at once, different SOC, and keeping up the operational security all the time, it can lead to burnout. Because also another thing that we'll talk later on is you don't post in your work hours. You have to play another threat actor, so you post in the middle of the night, you message them, or during weekends, holidays. Usually that's when they're most active. So in order to build a really credible persona, you need to be flexible with that thing, which of course amounts to, it can lead to burnout, definitely. Another thing also as a part of the emotional toll that it takes is you talk with those people. I mean, at the end of the line is another person, and the more you work with them, the more you realize that they are people, and you build to some extent, even connection. And we'll talk later on about strategies, how to extract information, different negotiation techniques, let's say. One of them is trying to scam them. So at the end of the day, you have built this connection with the person, and then you have to remember always that, okay, we are the good guys, they're the bad guys. I need to scam them in order to prevent them of doing something malicious.
And once you get the threat intel, you have to verify it. Threat actors lie. They exaggerate. You messed me up, man. Go back, please. Thank you. Once you get threat intel, you have to verify it. They lie. They exaggerate. They posture. So we have to validate everything. We correlate it with OSINT, telemetry, past campaigns, whatever we can get to prove that it's real. There have been many, and I mean many times where I've been given some information. If I want everything, I got to pay $100,000 for it, and it's a bunch of stuff that I can find publicly. No hack was done. Somebody just lied. The bottom line is that human can deliver these things that no tool ever will, but it's high risk, but the effort is high, and it definitely demands a lot of discipline. Before we can even start a human operation, we need to choose our battlefield carefully. Not every underground forum or channel is worth the risk, so we assess potential sources based on 3 key questions. Is it active? Or people posting? Or deals happening? Is it relevant? Does this group target our sector or our clients? Is it worth it? What are the exposures that could happen? What vetting requirements are involved to get involved in such a group? We're looking for high-value sources like forums with initial access brokers, places with frequent leaks or breach chatter, niche groups for malware development, phishing kits, or everybody's favorite, ransomware affiliates. These can be dark web forums, encrypted channels like Telegram or Talks, or invites-only marketplaces. But every one of them comes with different barriers to entry and different risk. That's where a risk assessment framework comes in. We assign scores based on things like how hard is it to join, whether the actors are hostile to researchers, if transactions or illegal behavior is expected. Then we match those sources against our intelligence goals. Are we after IOCs, actor profiling, threat actor profiling, access listings, or malware samples? From there, we prioritize. We don't jump into everything. We pick our targets strategically where the expected intelligence justifies the effort and the risk.
As Sean said, we need to evaluate our resources because it takes quite a lot of time to infiltrate a certain group, a lot of effort. So evaluating the source is the first step, making sure that it aligns with your intelligence requirements. So after we have the forum, the source where we want to extract the information from, we have to start creating the personas. So the persona, in order to be believable, we have to have done our research. What's in there? What's in the forum? What are usually the different type of groups, people talking? It is important to create a backstory. Not so much that you are going to tell it, but the way you speak, it should be always consistent. And when there is a bigger team and not only one person maintaining one persona but several people, it can easily be noticed when the person behind it changes. So that is why to have clear backstory. Where is it from, the person? Do they speak with an accent, maybe not in correct English, or have specific mistakes they do? Maybe they use some Russian order of the words, what's the motivation? Are they activists? Are they financially motivated? And also the technical skills. Is the persona you're building up a newbie, someone who's learning? It has its benefits. When you're playing a newbie, you can always ask some more stupider questions. So the threat actor can explain in more details how they did that. Or maybe you're someone more technical. So that is why it's always important to build up those backstories. Then the next part is to build up the infrastructure in order to keep operational security. Partner emails, maybe different accounts so you can connect them so it's more reliable. Even sometimes you can let yourself being doxed to have persona within the persona. That's also something that can boost the reputation. We also try to match the language in the tone because every forum uses its own slang, maybe different grammar depending on the region, punctuational style, and so on. About the OPSEC, we try to treat everything as a zero trust because we exchange files directly with the threat actors. So we treat every machine as already infected. Therefore, we create different virtual machines for different personas. So they don't if they catch one of them, they don't catch all of us, all of the personas. Also notes and logs in details, what did we say to whom and how did we spoke with them, because sometimes people can slip. For example, we have persona A, we interacted with some threat actor, but then somebody got confused and continued the conversation from another persona. Now both personas are busted and all the time and effort put in there is lost. The trick is, the most credible ones are the ones that are closer to your personality, especially it is in some forums where the topics are not only technical. Also, they talk about their personal lives to some extent, or at least interests. So the best thing is to be as close as possible to your interests, but in the same time to keep the distance and obfuscation so you don't get caught. And of course, every inconsistency gets your cover blown.
Understanding the internal structure and social dynamics of a cyber criminal community is key to navigate it effectively. Once inside, we don't post right away. We want to map the ecosystem first. Underground communities are like living organisms. Honestly, even better, like another city where humans interact with each other. I like that better. They got hierarchies, rivalries, norms. If you walk in blind, you're going to stand out. We look for subgroups or cliques based on specialities like initial access brokers, ransomware crews, malware development, languages or geographies like Russian-speaking threat actors or Spanish-only threat actors, reputation tiers, newbies versus the original crew. Then we watch for power dynamics. Who's running the show? Admins, moderators. Who gets deferred to in during discussions? Who's respected and who's ignored? It's social reconnaissance. We also study language patterns. What's the slang? What memes or jokes show up? What inside references are being made? Getting this wrong, and you are marked as an outsider immediately. And finally, we track behavior norms. Do people introduce themselves? How are deals being made and confirmed? What gets you banned or flagged? We use tools like Maltego, custom scripts, and other relationship tools, and to visualize relationships and track shifts. And why do we go through all this? Because we want to blend in. We need to know how to talk, who to talk to, and more importantly, when to be quiet. And understanding these dynamics doesn't just help with access. It helps us with threat actor attribution, helps us with tracking campaigns, and it helps us anticipate where the groups or threat actors will head to next.
So, we have the first steps. We have identified the place where the information is being shared and we want to infiltrate. Then we have created a persona, believable persona. The third step, as Sean mentioned, we have identified the dynamics within the group. Moderators, admins, different warring fractions, and who is who. So the next part is maybe the most important. It doesn't matter. Maybe you have the most believable persona, the best OPSEC you have, but if no one trusts you in there, you are no one. So they won't share anything with you. They won't share, especially when it's something that's it's more confidential. So that's why the previous step is really important, the lurking, as we call it, identifying the different groups, knowing who is communicating with whom. Maybe there are people who dislike each other. Therefore, we can do different. We can use different strategies after we have identified. Maybe we start small. Maybe we start first talking daily in one of the group chats, just that they notice us. Remember the username, so the next time when you message, they know it. And, of course, the best way to build trust is to interact, buy something from them, maybe do something illegal, but of course we have red lines that we try not to cross. So therefore, it's always the challenging to establish that connection only with talking, only with imitating illegal activities. Therefore, you need to be patient to build it slowly most of the times, and maybe comment on a tool or have a technical question, make a compliment about an access, share some harmless resources, a database that has been leaked long ago, nothing flashy. Consistency is more believable, and yeah, credibility builds slowly with time, not overnight. There are some mistakes that might be avoided, posting too much, or maybe, as we said, using a wrong slang, contradicting your persona. Those definitely raise red flags. And of course, when you interact, when you engage the threat actor, it is always really bad strategy to start asking right away. You have to put yourself in the shoes of another threat actor. What always works is start talking about the money in the beginning. If you're playing the buyer, ask, okay, do you use escrow? Or maybe ask for the specific cryptocurrency you want to use. So even if you're not getting to real purchase, they'll feel that you're more serious when you talk about that. So they open up when you talk about money. They always open up. And of course, the conversation is not static. One strategy does not work always for the same threat actors. There's some general things that might work in between them, but you have to be able to adapt. The communities itself, they evolve. Maybe someone you are saying that is recommending you, or maybe they are no longer friendly with your objective, with the threat actor you are trying to extract information from. You have to adjust your tone, your timing, level of activity, based of course on the community itself as well. The bottom line is that trust is the currency. The more reputable you are, the more they trust you, the more they will share with you. So therefore, it's always important to target your resources for specific personas that you see that they grow. So the more trust they get, the better they will perform.
Okay, collecting intelligence. Once you've built credibility, the door opens up to the next stage, and this is where you are able to collect intelligence. This is where you'll start turning all the trust that you have into actionable insights. This has to be done carefully, because one wrong move can blow the persona that you've taken weeks, months, maybe even a year in some cases to build. We break the collection into two categories. Passive, and this collection activity is low risk. We're just monitoring for threats, downloading attachments, archiving discussions. This is especially useful early on when you want to stay in the background. Active collection has higher stakes. Directly engaging threat actors to get information. This requires timing, finesse, and asking the right questions. Okay, so digital, how I don't know how to phrase that. Basically, asking for this type of information from threat actors. That's a tradecraft within itself. Instead of asking bluntly, "Yo, man, who's the victim?" No, that's not going to work. You may want to ask, "What's your usual vector for this?" Then you can make your way to getting this other information that you need. You may want to ask, "Do you test yourself before selling?" The goal is to present yourself as a peer, curious, even helpful, but don't come off as a researcher. Often, you don't even need to ask for names. Threat actors, they'll show proof of access, screenshots, file trees, VPN dashboards. They think they're hiding the victim, but metadata and naming conventions often tell us exactly what we need to know and exactly who the victim is. That intelligence extraction that happens without ever asking directly. And relationships matter too. You build relationships by remembering details, referencing past conversations, and offering value. How doesn't matter the size, but offer value in return, like advice, reviews, resources. It's about sharing information. When threat actors see you useful, they'll share more. Every interaction needs to be documented. Logs, screenshots, artifacts. They're all tagged, they're all time-stamped, and we will validate them by correlating the OSINTs with OSINTs or known campaigns to make sure that the intel is real. And through all this, we want to protect our cover. We don't want to over-ask. We don't want to push. We want to let the threat actors give us information that they're willing and happy to give us, not take it. And we always want to lead the conversation with more room for follow-up. The most valuable intel often comes casually, not from direct questioning. In short, intelligence gathering is as much about timing and psychology as it is about the question themselves. If done right, it turns a trusted persona into a real intelligence gathering asset. Now, the ethics. Before we get into the less technical parts, let's talk about something that does not get enough attention. Ethics. Human in cybercriminal spaces is just as risky. It's a minefield of legal and moral questions. First, let's be clear. Laws differ wildly. In some countries, just registering on a form can land you in trouble. In others, impersonation or even passive observation sits in the gray zone. That's why coordinating with legal counsel is not optional. Every operation should have clear rules of engagement before you even build a persona.
Because of those legal traps, it's very important to have clear policies, internal policies of engagement, and oversight. It's just as important. I mean, at the end of the day, we are all humans. Sometimes somebody is offering something very tempting. That's why it's important to make sure that there is oversight over the operations. Nobody gets tempted. Who approve the operations, who check that the persona hasn't drifted too far, and of course accountability through peer review. And yeah, we have to remember at the end of the day, real people are impacted. Organization, employees, sometimes even family members. That's why it's important to set boundaries. No financial transactions, no helping threat actors weaponize assets, not sharing data that we have acquired through other operation. And of course, having in mind the local laws and regulations.
There's also a human factor. Running a persona, let's get down to it. Sometimes we lie. And we lie for a long time. It means building a relationship with people who are known criminals. Sometimes they open up to you as if you're a friend. And I've had this happen many times, and I feel bad. I'm human just like they're human. And it's not always easy to separate these things. Sometimes we need to support each other as analysts. Sometimes I need to go talk to my wife. Sometimes you get fatigued out from these activities. Sometimes it's worse.
Yeah, and of course there is always this option. Every intelligence has its cost, and that's why it's important for us to prioritize, evaluate the cost of it. Do we need to burn really credible persona that we have put many hours in it just in order to get something small? How important is it? So sometimes it's okay to say, okay, I won't go any further, although I can. Sometimes maybe they ask for another type of information that you already have. And it's tempting. It's tempting to say, yes, I have it, but you give me before that the information. So yeah, it's always okay to say, no, I won't collect that intelligence at any cost. So yeah, let's talk about documentation and reporting. Those are as important, as I said, especially when you have a bigger team that several people maintain one persona. In case somebody gets sick, you need that persona, you need someone to work on it. So also, as I said previously, it is very dangerous that the moment you slip, maybe you use the wrong slang, maybe do a typo that the other threat actor have noticed that you don't do. Therefore, it's always important to have the same style. And that is why we need to log everything. First, when we create the persona itself, we need to describe everything in details. What's the background story? Maybe some specific ways we talk, or give some examples. And after that, we start logging with whom did we talk, about what did we talk, extracts of the conversation itself. Here, I found something very useful, using some LLMs to assist you for the persona creation, for the persona maintenance. After you have gathered some sample of specific ways this persona talks, you can just put it in the LLM and say, okay, that's the way this person talks. Now I want you to say this thing in the same style. So this is something that assists. As I said, because of operational security, this information needs to be stored securely, not on the same machine that from where you maintain the persona. Maybe it can get leaked. But yeah, I'll go over the other things. So chain of custody, always when you collect screenshots, some proofs, logs, and so on, we collect the hashes, who did editing, who did what. So yeah. And And yeah, the raw human is not always enough. Therefore, we need to collect the IOCs, some different indicators, and yeah, storing them is as important. Using, for example, some share folders and so on. And finally, we log our own operations. How many personas did we register? The tools we used, the things that have worked, the strategies that have that were successful with certain people. And as Sean talked, when we are mapping the ecosystem, it's important to keep it updated because it's important to know what's happening there.
All right, final takeaways. Let's bring it all together with a few key points. One thing to remember, tools don't build trust, people do. Automation is powerful, but human fills the gaps that no tool can reach. Second, getting into these areas, it's a process, it's not a quick win. From source selection, persona building, to gaining trust, to carefully extracting data, it all requires patience and discipline. Don't rush it. Third, ethics is not optional. The way we operate defines the value of our intelligence. We don't want to cut corners. We don't want to cross lines. Finally, human is what gets you inside the room. The most valuable intelligence does not come from scraping or machine learning. It comes from conversations, and that's a trade craft. Thank you very much.